Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, depending on where you are and what time you're watching this video. I'm not going to do a long-winded intro, but I just want to say if this video helps you at all, I am looking to hit 500 subscribers on YouTube. I'm just over halfway there, and subscribing to me is free, and it helps me a lot. So if this video helps you, please consider subscribing. Now, with that being said, let's get into the reason why you clicked on this video and why you're here. I wanted to make a guide sort of going over a basic beginner's guide to making Lucent. I know there are lots of complex methods out there where you can go to like Desert Caravan and you can farm the Queen Bellendir fragments, or you can attempt to anyway. You can try and farm Tevin's fragments and then you can sell those on the auction house. But I want to make like a basic guide for those people who just hit 50 or are new to the game and they want to find out how to actually make Lucent, as Lucent essentially makes this world that we live in Throne of Liberty go round, right? So I just went on my way and I farmed 3 co-op dungeons for the day, and I got absolutely terrible loot from them, but I can still demonstrate what I'm trying to get across on how to make Lucent from these pieces of gear. Even though they're not high value pieces, I can still show you the same. So I got Relentless Cleaver, Rex Chimeras, crossbows, Demonic Beast King's Belt, and then I have another piece of gear here, which is Belt of the Midnight Hunt, and this is from a precious pouch that I would encourage you, if you watch my... I'll try and link it or something. If you watch my video about things to buy on a daily basis, every day you should be going to the contract coin merchant and buying this precious blessing pouch. You have a chance to get gear such as this one. So I have 4 pieces of gear here. How do I make them Lucent? Well, you really have 2 options, and then a third that doesn't really make you Lucent, but it kind of does in a roundabout way. The first option is you can extract the trait being this debuff duration. This one is negative 1.5%, and you can sell this extract on the auction house. The second option you have is to make it a lithograph. So what you do is you go craft a blank lithograph, which I'll show you, and you can put the piece of gear on the lithograph and then sell the lithograph on the auction house. So let's take a look at Belt of the Midnight Hunt. What I do when I get a piece of gear is I'm like, okay, this is Belt of the Midnight Hunt and the debuff duration trait. So I'm going to go on the auction house and I'm going to search Belt of the Midnight. It's probably going to come up. Yeah. So we can see here, if I lithograph the belt, it's going to give me 109 Lucent. If I extract the belt, if I click into these, we can see that the debuff duration is currently selling for 127 Lucent. Now, it's important to note that extracting traits is much cheaper and much more accessible than lithographing pieces of gear. So not only is this lithograph less expensive than the trait I have in terms of selling, but it's also going to cost me more. So without a doubt, I'm going to extract this Belt of the Midnight Hunt. So it's very simple. You can get trait unlock stones in a multiple of ways, but the main way is not here. That's trait conversion. I always get them confused. If you go to the coin contract merchant, you take your coins and you can buy trait extraction stones. I'll just buy a couple so I can show you whatever. I don't know, buy 15. You can buy trait extraction stones up to 420 per week. If you want to know what you should be buying on a daily and weekly basis, I have a video for that I'll link somewhere above or something, or in the description or something. So anyways, you have your trait unlock stones, of which I have 654. So you're going to go to this belt that you want to extract the trait from, or whatever piece of gear it is. You're going to click on it, and you're going to go to this button, Trait Extraction. So for 5 extraction stones, I can extract this trait and sell it on the auction house. If you extract the trait of a purple piece of gear, for example, it will cost you, sorry, wrong button. It will cost you 25. So with both lithographing and with traits, blues are cheaper to do it than purples. But anyways, trade unlock, it's going to cost us 5 and 15,000 solent. This is basically $1. So we'll do that. And now we have you see how there is this little border around the item, this like white border. That means we can sell it on the auction house. So now we're going to go to the auction house. We're going to go to the sell tab. You can see I already sold a extract for Rex Chimeras' crossbows. We're going to pop this in here. You can see the highest price that's listed, the average, and the lowest. I typically try to sell right around the lowest available price. Just makes the most sense to me. Sell that, and then you wait a while, and then eventually it sells. And like in this case, you collect your Lucent, you pay your taxes. You can't get around taxes even in the virtual world, and you receive 93 or whatever amount, depending on your server's tax rate. The second option you have is to lithograph a piece of gear. So let's go back to the equipment here. I've got Relentless Cleaver, Rex Chimeras' crossbows, and this left. Honestly, none of these are worth a lot, so for the sake of this video, I'm probably just going to do this. It's not really worth a lot. I probably wouldn't actually do this. So let's see if we go to the demonic belts, it's only worth $159. This is an accessory. An accessory and armor is cheaper if you than if you were to do weapons. Still, you have to spend a lot to do this, so I'm gonna do it for the sake of this video. But typically, I wouldn't lithograph anything that's like less than 200 Lucent, maybe even 300 Lucent, depending on how I'm feeling, how much materials I have at the time. But again, for the sake of this video, let's just do it. So belts are an accessory. So we're going to go over to the accessory crafter, and we are going to look at precious blank lithograph accessories. I can create a blank lithograph, which then I don't really know how to explain this, but you basically slap your gear onto the lithograph, and then you can sell it on the auction house. So for 10 precious parchment, 25 enchanted ink, 10 precious pure gold, 5 precious polished crystals, and 5 precious emerald, you can create one of these to slap your piece of gear on. Sorry, I just hit the mic. Slap your piece of gear on and then sell it on the auction house. So I need 10 precious pure gold. Now, typically, you're probably going to have an accumulation of material selection chests. If not, your other option for precious pure gold or whatever is in this sort of slot, depending on what you're lithographing, is you can open it from the precious base material selection chest. Assuming that's done, you can also craft it. So let me make the maximum amount of pure gold I have, and then I can craft one more. And actually, I'm not going to have enough to do this. This is kind of a testament to the fact that I wouldn't necessarily just lithograph everything. As you can see, I don't even have the materials to do this. So, mind you, I haven't really done some farming in a while, but I don't even have the materials to do this, which kind of goes to show you how expensive it is and how inaccessible it is, as opposed to extracting traits. The problem is if you get a trait that sucks, but the lithograph is worth a lot, then you kind of have to. But I would say you want to try to stick to trait extraction. So let me see how much it costs to make one of these. Okay, I can make one. So again, just for the purpose of this video, I wouldn't do this, especially because these really aren't worth anything, or this weapon, but I'm going to do it just to show you. So if it was a purple, it would be this precious blank lithograph. You can see how expensive this is. You can buy these on the auction house for like 10 to 20 Lucent a pop, which is already getting up to 100, 200 Lucent that you're going to deduct from this eventual sale price, plus all the enchanted ink, which you can only buy 50 per week. Like, it's just a very expensive endeavor. So just for the purposes of this video, crap this. So now I have a precious blank lithograph, and I can go over to my relentless cleaver here, and I can lithograph it, and it's gonna give me this for using this and this for 90,000. So I click that. So now same thing. You're gonna see I have in my inventory. Does it go into my inventory? Yeah, in my inventory, you're gonna see now I have one of these material. It's classified as material, but I have this. So now, again, I can go to the auction house. I can list it for 70. I promise you, do not do it if it's this cheap. I am just doing this for the purpose of the video. And then list it. I probably used more than 70 Lucent worth of materials. This was not profitable, just for demonstration purposes. The other thing I would encourage you to do, if you look at the trait and you're like, oh wow, this really isn't worth anything. You look at the lithograph, you're like, oh wow, this also really isn't worth anything. Dump your extra stuff into the lithograph book. I mean, this is worth nothing to me. This is also worth nothing to me, just because it's too expensive to make it a lithograph and the trait isn't worth anything. So I'm going to add these to this lithograph part of the book. Once I get these, potentially, hopefully the trade extract is worth something, but if not, then I'll also pump this in here. 25 trade unlock stones, which are very, very, very hard to come by, and some precious process rubrics. So those are your two main options. Plus, I would suggest if you have nothing else to do with those pieces of gear, then throw them into the lithograph book. And then assuming it's in the lithograph book, the trade isn't worth anything, and the lithograph isn't worth anything on the auction house, the last thing I would do, I guess, is just dissolve it. But yeah, so those are the three things. And then a couple extra notes I want to just mention. So if you're gonna lithograph, depending on what type of gear you're gonna lithograph, you go to either the accessories crafter for rings, necks, belts, you go to, or whatever, you go to the armor crafter for gloves, helm, chest, pants, etc., or you go to the weapons crafter for any weapons.
You know this.
And then
here, guess you have pretty high
something else I just want to really quickly touch on, and then we'll probably wrap it up. All these types of lithographs require one of these epic gems, rubrics, or what's the other one? It's the green one and the yellow one. Rubrics, Stalin, or sorry, I don't know the names off by heart, or Emirate. So you can, if you don't have those, obtain them very easily. I didn't know this until somebody told me, so I just want to pass it on to you. You can acquire this very easily by just going to Miscellaneous Materials, and they're all right here, as well as the soul fragments. That's another video I can make. This is a more advanced level of farming Lucent that used to be a secret and really isn't anymore. But in the auction house, you can buy those pieces. You'll notice, again, rubrics, which is for weapons, is even more expensive than the rest, with Stalin being the cheapest. But these are for accessories and armor, and then this is for weapons. Weapons are really expensive to lithograph, and they cost the same amount to extract the trait, and the traits are often worth a ton more. So basically, if I could sum it up for you, you're going to get gear from open world dungeons, or pouches, or chests, or open world bosses, or co-op dungeons. you're definitely going to be running everyday co-op dungeons and probably your open world dungeons. That's probably going to be your main driver of gear, and then you need to take that gear that you accumulate from those and put them onto the auction house through either extracting the traits or selling the lithographs, with a emphasis on extracting the traits. And then, assuming you can't do either of those things, throw it in the lithograph book, and if it's not in the lithograph book, just dissolve it for magic powder, because you're going to be able to use that for further things down the road. So that was a little bit longer than I wanted it to be, but I didn't really want to leave anything out, and hopefully I didn't. Anybody who's experienced and knows all about this, if I did leave something out for some reason, please comment below. But that's basically what I've been doing to accumulate Lucent, and it's been working out pretty well for me. I'm a free-to-play player, so I would say for me it's been it's sufficed, but obviously your mileage may vary depending on your RNG, because at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. So this was already longer than I wanted it to be. I'm not going to waste any more of your time. If it helped you at all, please consider subscribing. It's free. It would help me a lot. I'm really trying to hit 500 subscribers. And again, it doesn't cost you anything, and it helps me a ton. So I would appreciate that, and I hope you have the good rest of your day, and happy grinding in Throne. Take care.